Okay. Today we're going to start Ayin Chesed Beis at the Mishnah. This is 78b. I think Hashem that you're able to learn Torah every day. So we're learning we should have a bit of English. Learning Lili Nishmas Havagol B'Las Baruch Binyamin and the Salas of B'Tzion, and for Shleimah Avnov Ben Sarah. Guy gets all the aspect. The Mishnah says, Mecher Sachamar, someone sells a donkey, Macher Sasiach, he sells the young donkey together with it, the baby. I don't know what's the English word for a young donkey. Be careful, you can end up with curse words. But what's the English word for a young donkey? Okay. Macher Sapara, if someone sells a cow, Loy Macher, exactly the opposite. When he sells a donkey, the young comes along.
Isn't it Hebrew higher?
Yeah. I think so. And when he sells a cow, it doesn't come along, which is interesting. Machar Ashba, if someone sells calf, okay, it's clean. If someone sells a heap, no, it's not a heap. It's actually a place in the ground where they store the manure, should be used for fertilizer. So that's the ashpa. Ashpa means garbage, but he's selling this area. Machar zabli, you sell the manure that's together with it. Machar bar, let's say someone sells a pit. Machar meimah sells the water together with the pit. Machar kaveris, if he sells a beehive. Machar dvarim, it comes with the bees. I think they sell them today. You buy the hive together with the bees. The whole box, call it a nuke. I'm not sure if that's a shortened word for something, but Machar Shaivach, Machar Yainim. You sell a bird cage, bird house. You sell the birds together with it. Okay. The only one here that wasn't sold together with it was the cow. In all of these cases, the child wasn't sold together with the cow. Where it says, Hey Chidami, what are we talking about over here? Are you saying that you're selling the mother together with the offspring? Then why by the cow don't you sell is the offspring not sold if that was specified? And if you didn't specify that it's the mother together with the offspring, then by the donkey it also shouldn't be sold together with the calf. Why by the donkey do we say it's sold together with the calf if you didn't actually say you're selling the calf? Rav Papa says, Papa says, adjust the case a little bit, that he says, I'm selling a nursing mother. Well, this is interesting. When you say a nursing mother, what do you mean? Do you mean that you're selling the calf together with it? Or do you just mean that the mother's giving milk? So it depends. If it's a kosher animal, then the mother giving milk has significance because you can use the milk. If it's a non-kosher animal, then what are you selling me a nursing mother? There's no benefit to a nursing mother except if you meant that you're selling the calf. That why does he say nursing? Because he wants to get the milk. But if it's just a donkey, what does he mean that it's nursing? It must mean that he's telling him that I'm selling the mother together with the offspring, which is very interesting. Wait for that. But my karle siach, why is a donkey called a siach, a young donkey called a siach? Because it goes with talking to it nicely. On the other hand, an older animal, you have to hit it probably.
What's the opposite of the law?
Tell me.
You hit it, hold her up, you fucked it nice.
Are you talking about in the Torah? I mean, at the beginning he said to hit the rock, and later on he said to talk to the rock. Interesting. They meant young rocks and old rocks. I thought you were giving me like some geology story.
I don't know anything about
Amar Shmuel Bar Nachman. Is this really what it is? Let's see, what's that? Yes. Bar Nachmani. That's more common. Amar Shmuel Bar Nachmani. Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Sometimes Rabbi Yonasan. That's what it says on the side also. My diksiv. What's the meaning of the pasuk? Let's take a look what this is, what the pasuk is, and then we'll go through how the Gemara learns it.
Oh, Chukas, how can you run Muslim Bob Heshbon? One of the secret in your secret. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
A fall. Is a young donkey is a fall. Okay.
Foal,
Foal.
like a young horse, same word.
Oh, okay. So here, what happened was, the Jewish people wanted to pass through the land of Sichain, the king of Amiri. Said, let us go through your land. We won't turn onto the fields or to the vineyards. We won't drink the water. We're just going to go on the highway. Sichain doesn't allow them to go through. And they come out and they make battle. They go out to battle, and the Jewish people fight them to the edge of the sword, and they inherit their land from Arnon to Yabik. And the Jewish people take all the cities, and they settle in the cities of the Amiri, the Cheshbon, and all its Neishteha, which means all its small cities, right? Because Cheshbon, the city of Sichain, king of Amiri, he fought with the king of Mayav. And he took his land from him until Arnon. And now, the pasuk goes on. It says, "Al ken yemra Moshem," which means concerning this victory, the poets, Bilam and his father, commentary in here that's in, would say, "Come to conquer Cheshbon. May it be built and established as a city of Sichain. For fire went forth from Cheshbon, a flame from the city of Sichain. It consumed Ar of Mayav, the masters of the high places of Arnon. Woe was to you, Moab, you are lost people of Chemesh. He has given his sons over as refugees and his daughters into captivity to Sichain, king of Amorites." Now, turns out that if the Jewish people would have fought, what happened over here is that there were lands that belonged to Ammon and Moab, and we were not allowed to attack Ammon and Moab. But Sichain attacked Ammon and Moab and conquered those lands. And then when we attacked Sichain, that was no problem. So the pasuk is saying this surprising thing that they conquered, that Sichain conquered Cheshbon, which originally belonged to Moab, and now the Jewish people were able to get it.
This verse is about Elul also, right? Is like if you want to be emotional, you have to heshbon nefesh.
So this is this Gemara.
Okay.
This Gemara, yeah. So, Amar Shmuel Bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yonasan, Ksiv. What's the meaning of the pasuk Al Ken Yemra Moshem? That the ones that say parables will talk about this. Moshem, what are the Moshem? These are the tzaddikim that they control their Yetzer Hara. Bayu Cheshbon. You say, come to Cheshbon. Come see what happened. Bayu Benachshav Cheshbon Shalom. Go and calculate calculations of the world of Hashem. Hefsid mitzvah keneged schara. Take a look at
What triggered this?
I think that we said siach is a siach go and calculate the difference between the benefits that a person gets in this world. I'm sorry, the opposite. The loss that a mitzvah costs. Compare the loss of a mitzvah to the benefits of the mitzvah in the world to come. Or compare the benefits of the sin, like the pleasure of the sin, compared to the punishment that a person gets from it, right? It will be built and established. If you do this calculation, you realize that there's no gain from sinning. and there's only gain from mitzvahs, then you'll be built by in this world with Sikain Leilam Haba, and you'll be established for the world to come. Here, Sichain, we're continuing in the verse, the city of Sichain. If a person makes himself like this ayar, like this young donkey, a foal, and he follows after sweet talk. Maksiv achra, what does it say afterwards? A fire comes out from cheshbon. A fire goes out from the tzaddikim, and it consumes those that don't make the calculations. And a flame from the cities of Sichin, Mikiryas tzaddikim, from the cities of tzaddikim shenekro Sichin, that are called trees. The tzaddikim are called trees, like tzaddik atamar yifra from that. Achla er mayav. Huh? They eat they consume the cities of Mayav. This is someone that's talking about that follows his Yetzirah, that he just like this foal that follows after sweet talk. This is the masters of the heights of Arnain. These are the arrogant people. Because Master taught, and when it's arrogant, they feel Gehenna, falls into Gehenna. Let me see how they do the next one. Is it Beniram Bamar?
Don't we learn like
Beniram.
partial state code that we're not really supposed to find out which mitzvahs are greater or lesser than
Yeah.
each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's not like realm of mission expertise.
Yeah, that's a good question. Beniram, I did it correct. Nevertheless, the fact that it says not to calculate a greater mitzvah for a smaller mitzvah means that there is a greater and a smaller, and you just calculate it.
Calculating to see what the supposed to be.
No, but here what it's saying is that that the pleasures of Avera are just fleeting. They don't really they're not long lasting. So you should recognize that really there's nothing, you don't really get much from the Avera, and the mitzvah gives you much more.
Oh yeah.
The Niram and Niram, Amar Rasha, the wicked one says, Ein Ram, there's nothing high. Avad Cheshbon is lost, which means Avad Cheshbon is Shalaylam. There's no judge and there's no judgment. Ad Divine, until Divan Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, Hamtin ad Shevedim, wait for the judgment to come. Nasim ad Neifach, and Nashim ad Neifach. He laid waste as far as Neifach. Until the fire comes, that doesn't need to be blown on. It needs to be what's it called? Fan. Doesn't need to be fan. Ad Medva, until Medva, Ad Shetadiv Nishmasan, until their souls what's the word? They agonize. Okay. Some say that what it means is Medva, the word is Medva is coming to tell me the word boy. Which means until Hashem does what he needs to do, just to destroy the wicked. I'm Rav Yida Marav. Rav Yida says the name of Rav Kol HaPirish from Divrei Torah. Anyone that leaves the words of Torah, Eishei Chalte, gets eaten by the fire. Fire is the Yetzirah, right? Shenemar Benasati Espanei Behem I'm sorry. Benasati Espanei Behem Meya Eish Yetzer Veish Teichlim. I'll put my face on them. When fire, they go out and fire consumes them. Because Rav Dimi Rav Yonasan, Rav Dimi was the traveler. He said the name of Rav Yonasan, Kol HaPirish from Divrei Torah, Nefel Beganim. Anyone that leaves the words of Torah falls into Gehenim. Shenemar Adam Toya Miderech Haskel. I'm not sure. Hasechel. Bekal Rafam Yenuach. Any person strays from the ways of intellect in the congregation of Haskell. in the congregation of Rephaim, he'll settle. In Rephaim el Gehenim, and that means he settles in Gehenim. He did not know that the Rephaim are there in the depths of the abyss. Are its invitees probably. Okay. Macharash, but Machazav, we go back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that if someone sells a garbage, which is referring to over here, a place where they store the manure, so he sold together with that the manure that's in it. You get the whole thing all together. Lucky him, right?
Yeah.
Right. But fertilizer.
He would love.
Oh, yeah.
Expensive.
There's some place in Ecuador. They have the bats would leave their droppings, and it was like very strong fertilizer. And I think some battles were fought over that fertilizer. Like wars broke out. Like who owns that fertilizer? And so real battles. Yeah. Bats.
We are like all day.
Yeah. Okay. Tanan Hassam was taught over there, Mishnah in Meila. Anything that's fit for the altar, which that would mean some sort of sacrifice, and something that's eligible to be a sacrifice, an ox, a sheep, something, a goat. But it's not fit to be bedek habayis. It's not fit to be given as a temple upkeep, which is anything that's eligible to be a sacrifice should not be given for the temple upkeep. There's a problem with doing that. It has to go as a sacrifice. Any animal or bird that's eligible to be a sacrifice. Or the bedek habayis v'leilam mizbeach, or something that's eligible for temple upkeep, which, for example, gold and silver, other precious gems. Those are only for temple upkeep, but they can't be brought as offerings. They're not brought on the altar. No, just 1 second. You'll hear the end of it. There's 3 options. Mizbeach, bedek habayis, or not even bedek habayis. Let's say something like dung, something which you're not even supposed to give it to the temple. It would have to be exchanged. We don't want people to say that, oh, you see that wall over there in the temple? That was bought because we traded in dung for that. That's not how. So, but whatever the case is, if someone consecrates it, so for example, if someone consecrates a place where they keep the animals, doesn't mean he consecrated the animals. So consecrates the box where they keep the gold, doesn't mean he consecrated the gold. Or the place where they keep the dung, consecrated that place, doesn't mean he consecrated the what's inside. Ketzad. Yeah, let's see. So it says Ketzad hikdish bar malaya mayim. Let's say someone consecrates a pit, and the pit happens to be filled with water. The water theoretically could be used for bedek habayis, for the temple upkeep. You mix it with straw or sand or whatever, you make bricks. Right, the water could be used, or ashbis malaya zevel, or the garbage that's filled with the manure, which is not fit for the temple, or shevach malayanim, or the bird cage. He consecrates the bird's cage that's full of the birds that could be brought as offerings in the temple. So you have all the options here. Or sadeh malaya savim, or let's say he consecrates a field that's full with grass.
The garbage you can't
bring as, right. Or ila nasi peris, or a tree that's full of fruits, which is not fit for the temple, for the altar, but it could be fit for bedek habayis. Actually, ila mali peris, it says, is not fit for anything because you can't build with it. You can't build with it. And the grass is also not fit for anything because you can't build with it. So what's the halacha with them? If someone consecrates just the containers or the where they're held, Mayalim bahem ubamasha b'seichem. There's meila on both. On the pit and on the water, on the cage and on the birds. So in other words, if someone comes along and uses the birds for personal use, so he also violates the halachas of meila. Meila is when you take temple property and you use it for personal use. You have to bring a sacrifice. So if someone does this, even though that wasn't consecrated, but that was in the thing that was consecrated, it gets consecrated along with it. But let's say when he consecrated the pit, it was empty. Afterwards, water filled it up. Ashba, or there was the garbage, and the smell of zevel, and afterwards it got filled up with the zevel, with the manure. Shevach, it was a bird cage, and then the birds showed up. Ilan, there was a tree, and afterwards it grew the fruit. There was a field, afterwards it grew the grass. Rabbi Yehuda's opinion is that you don't violate meila if you have benefit from what now arrived, because that was not there at the time of consecration, so it's not considered consecrated together with the host. Okay, Rabbi Yossi says, hold on. Someone consecrates a field or a tree, and then things grow on it, so they're growing off consecrated property. So anything that grows from consecrated property is considered consecrated. So Rabbi Yossi argues with Rabbi Yehuda, and he says that if it's a tree or something that grows, so then it's going to be consecrated and it's going to be meila, even though it wasn't there at the time, because of the growth part that we've had that before, that the growth of hekdesh.
So when somebody is makad or something, it's making a gift, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we spent pages talking about how a gift is always given with a generous eye.
Yeah.
So why isn't that resolve these
We actually had a machlekes before.
issues?
Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, he held that when someone is makdish, he does it with stingy. He doesn't. It's not considered a gift. It's more like a sale. Yeah, that's what you're saying is a good point.
Unless the Gemara is saying giving something to hekdesh is not just like any other gift. It may be different rules.
Well, let's see. The Gemara is going to go through, going to do a comparison shortly between. Yeah, we said that if someone sells a pit, he sells the water that's in it, right? Did we have that before?
Yeah, right.
Yes, we did just yesterday.
Right.
And if someone sells a beehive, he sells the honey that's in it.
That was just now.
Those kind of things.
Yeah. He sells the pit, he sells what's in it. Over here, he sells the pit, he's makdish the pit, he's makdish what's in it. The only thing is here, the water came later. So then he's not makdish what's in it. What happens to the field? So then that's a machlekes. If what comes later is considered hekdesh. Okay. So Rabbi Yossi argues. Rabbi Yossi says that gedulei hekdesh, what grows from a hekdesh host, is considered hekdesh. Tanya was taught in a brayso from Rebbe. Rebbe comments. This is common for Rebbe to do something like this, where he says, "I'll accept this opinion in such and such a case. However, that opinion will be correct in a different case." So he picks like which one, the logical part of each of them. So it says like this: I'm a Rabbi nearing the Rabbi Yehuda b'bar b'shayvach. I would accept the words of Rabbi Yehuda. It appears that Rabbi Yehuda is correct by the pit, where there should be no meila in the water that came later or in the birds that arrived later. But the Rabbi Yossi b'sadav ilan. But I would accept Rabbi Yossi by the trees in the fields because it's growing from hekdesh. It should be considered hekdesh.
You can
Now,
still use the buffer though in the system.
yeah, exactly.
Nobody.
It came
So why
later,
can't
so you
get
could use it.
benefit?
You can. That's what he's saying. He's saying that since when he was makdish the pit, there was no water there, the water showed up later. The water's not hektish.
So one has to do with what you know is gonna come, it's what you don't know.
Yeah, that's what Gemara's going to mention shortly. Yeah. Yeah, Ramesha's commenting that there's also that concept of avidi da'asu, what you expect to arrive.
Bob motion.
Yeah, it's rabbi.
Is that a principle? I'm familiar with that phrase.
Yeah, Rameir, Davar Shlei Balaylam, it's going to come up in the Gemara when we turn the page. That if you can be makne Davar Shlei Balaylam, can you sell something that hasn't arrived yet? And that depends on if it's expected to arrive. If it's something that's like the fruits of a palm tree, which is expected to be there, expected to come. We'll see it in a moment. Problem is when Rebbe does this, when Rebbe says it appears that this one is correct in this case, and this is correct in that case, what he's really doing, what Rebbe's really saying, is that they have a machlekes in all of those cases. But I'm accepting it, and I'm accepting it just in this. Now, if Rebbe didn't do that, then I could have said that they're really not arguing about the bar if the water is hektish. Right, because maybe Rabbi Yossi agrees to that, which it looks like he agrees to that. He says he's only arguing about the. But when Rebbe says, "I'll accept the view of Rabbi Yehuda by the bar, by the pit," it sounds like he's rejecting Rabbi Yossi, which means Rabbi Yossi argues about that. But Rabbi Yossi didn't argue about that. Rabbi Yossi said he's only arguing about the trees in the field. So Rebbe making clarity, but at the same time is making it difficult for us to understand. So Gemara says like this. Hi, Mai. What's going on over here? Bishlam in there, and the Rabbi Yehuda. When Rabbi says that I'll accept the words of Rabbi Yehuda bebar v'shayvach about a pit and the bird cage, mechlal. That implies the pligyas adavilan, that he doesn't accept it by the trees. What he says about the trees, the pligyas adavilan. Elanirin div Rabbi Yossi v'sadavilan. But when he says that he's going to accept what Rabbi Yossi says about the field and the trees, must mean that there's an argument about the pits and the bird cage, which he's not accepting. The problem is for Rabbi Yossi Sadavi Ilan Kamar, but Rabbi Yossi never argued about that. Rabbi Yossi only argued about the trees. So the Chitema, maybe what you can say is like this. We can answer this up. Say Lidvar of the Rabbi Yehuda Kamar, that really Rabbi Yossi is not really Rabbi Yossi is really arguing on Rabbi Yehuda, and he's telling him like this. He's arguing even about the pits. He says, really, I hold that everything is hektish, even if the water comes later, even if the birds show up later, it's all hektish. But you, Rabbi Yehuda, that you hold that it's nothing is hektish, should at least agree that by the trees it's growing from a hektish tree. By the field, you should agree it's growing from a hektish field. At least that. I hold much more than that. Maybe that's the pshat. And that's why when Rebbe says, I'll accept Rabbi Yehuda, it's because we know that Rabbi Yossi is really arguing. He never said that he's arguing, because he wasn't really saying his whole opinion. He was just trying to convince Rabbi Yehuda to agree with him halfway.
Can we also learn that you can make kaddish something that doesn't even exist yet, like an animal that was like born?
So the Gemara says you can't say that. But Tanya, we have a brayso, Rabbi Yossi, Einani raya divishal, Einani raya divishal Yehuda b'sad v'ilim pnei shegeduli hegdash. Brayso says that I don't accept the words of Rabbi Yehuda by the trees because it grows, the fruits grow from hektish, which means b'sad v'ilim hudeina raya bar v'shayvach raya. But he does accept them by the birds, by the bird cage, and by the water. So it can't be that Rabbi Yossi's full opinion is totally different than Rabbi Yehuda. Can't be that. It must be that he's only arguing with Rabbi Yehuda just about the birdcage and the water. So why is Rabbi saying that he accepts Rabbi Yehuda by the birdcage and the water when Rabbi Yossi agreed with him about that? My answer is Hachikama.
You make something hektish if it's already hektish, like the firstborn or like the 10th animal or something.
There is an additional hektish that gets added. But it does. I don't know if it's significant. I forget, we had a Gemara where someone would, they would be makdish the firstborn. He would pronounce it hektish, even though it was already hektish. I forget the base Rebbe or something. Anyway. Ochi Kamar.
Like I was thinking about Purim also.
Oh. Yeah. That's for the Kohen. Hachi Kamar, this is what he means to say. What Rebbe's saying. Nirin div Rabbi Yehuda le Rabbi Yosi bebar v'shoivach. I'll accept Rabbi Yehuda's words to Rabbi Yosi by the pit and by the birdcage. Shaf Rabbi Yosi le nechlek lavela b'sad v'ilan. Abar v'shoivach meidele. Okay, it's like a cheap answer. He's saying that we're not really, that they weren't arguing about that. Why will I accept Rabbi Yehuda over there? Because Rabbi Yosi doesn't argue. All right. We didn't want to say that beforehand. We wanted to say, if you're accepting Rabbi Yehuda, that means Rabbi Yosi doesn't agree. Now we're saying, no, I'll accept Rabbi Yehuda because Rabbi Yosi agrees. However, I'll accept Rabbi Yosi in the other case. Yeah, which is it's acceptable because the rule is Rabbi Yosi nimuka yimai. Rabbi Yosi is the one that's logical, and the halacha is always like Rabbi Yosi. Remember that, Rabbi Naftali? Machlekes Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosi, the halacha is like Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi is the one. So he's saying, I'll accept Rabbi Yehuda because Rabbi Yosi doesn't argue, and I'll accept Rabbi Yosi because it's Rabbi Yosi. Okay. Taner Rabbana was taught in a brisa. So far, everything looks pretty clear, right? We have a simple machlekes about if someone's makdish a tree and then fruits grow later if it becomes hektish. Okay, machlekes Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Yehuda. Taner Rabbana, we have a brisa. If when he's makdish it, it's empty. We don't know what this brisa is talking about. Is it talking about the pit or is it talking about trees? And the halacha is very different between the two of them, at least according to Rabbi Yosi, right? Pits, what's inside. Well, let's start off simple. If it was makdish them and they filled up later, it says ma'ilim behem vein ma'ilim masha b'seichan. There's me'ilah in them, but not in what's in them. If it's talking about a pit, then it would agree with everyone, right? If it's talking about trees, then this would be a machlekes Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosi would say no, there is me'ilah in it. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon Aimer, Elazar bar Shimon, this is Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai's son. He says, "Af ma'ilim masha b'seichan." There's me'ilah even what's inside. So, Amar Rabba. Rabba says, machlekes. Rabba is an Amira that's coming along to explain this brisa. Machlekes b'sad v'ilan. The discussion over here with Hektish and Rikana, you're makdish them when they're empty, and then it fills up. This is talking about trees. The Tanakama Savalak Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon Savalak Rabbi Yosi. It's perfect. Matches, Tanakama matches with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon matches with Rabbi Yosi that says trees, even though there were no fruits on it when he said that it's when it says it's hektish, but because they grew later from hektish, they become hektish. That's Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon's view, and that's Rabbi Yosi's view.
Wouldn't he smuggle it? More reference to a floor and not a tree.
Yeah, but it could be also. What would happen by a bar and by a pit and by a bird cage? There's no me'ilah in what's in them, which fits with the way we understood Rabbi Yosi and Rabbi Yehuda as well. Amalei Abaya.
What happens after?
Yeah. Abaya says to Rabba, Tanya, we have a brisa that says, Hekdishan Malayan. If you were makdish them when they were filled up. There's me'ilah and everything. That's what we understood also, right? However, comes along Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon Machlef. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon changes his opinion. Usually he says, if you makdish it when it's not full, when it fills up, it becomes hektish. But if you makdish it when it is full, only the outside, only the host is hektish, and what's inside is not hektish. Says V'i, it's strange, it's a shocking view. We understood everything was always the other way, right? But V'i, the Sad V'ila, and if we're dealing with trees and fields, Amay Machlef, why would he switch it? If the fruits are there, then it should all be hektish. Now, and if it's a pit, should all be hektish also. We have to wait for the Gemara to see. The Gemara is going to answer that up. Why the pit is different. Just wait 1 minute. 5 minutes. Elamar Rabba says, Rabba switches his view now. He says that the machlekes in the Brisa is not that simple. It's not that an exact machlekes of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Machlekes in the Brisa between the Tanakama and Rabbi Lazar bar Shimon is different. Machlekes bebar b'shoivach. This machlekes is about a pit. Al basad ve'ilan. But if it would be a tree in a field, then everyone would agree that there's going to be me'ilah. What are they arguing about when it's empty? What are they arguing about when it's full? When it's empty, there's a machlekes here. Right, they makdish it when it's empty and it fills up later. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon says it's hektish. The first Tanakama says it's not. What are they arguing about? Pligi beplukta de Rab Meir b'Rabbanan. There's a machlekes between Rab Meir and Rabbanan. The Tanakama savlik Rabbanan. The Amri, the Tanakama holds like the Rabbanan that they say ena the makda davar shlei b'laylam, that a person can't sell something that doesn't exist yet, and therefore when you makdish something that doesn't, so you're not makdish what has not yet arrived. We're talking about water in a pit, right? The water hasn't arrived in the pit. It rained later, so you're not makdish the water that hasn't arrived. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon savik Rab Meir. He holds like Rab Meir that says the opposite. That says that the person can sell something that has not yet arrived because we consider it that it has arrived. As if it has arrived. The Gemara says 1 second. Rab Meir compares dekel David also. Rab Meir only said that by trees, that it's naturally going to grow, but water in a pit is not naturally going to come in. It says, how do you know that the water is going to come in? How do you know the birds are going to come to the bird cage? It's not automatic.
It's like a nether. That's what it feels like.
Well, heck, this is a nether, yeah. So Amarava Mishkachas la b'mayim habayim derech chatzir lebar v'yenim habayim derech shefa l'sheva. Talking about things that would naturally happen. It's coming through his courtyard. There's the stream already there. Water comes through his courtyard. It's going to fill up the pit. The grooves are already there. That's where the rain goes. And the birds are already in his. They go through this cage or whatever. They go through the system to get into that. So now, what's the machlekes when it's full? This was the hard one because Tanakama held that when you makdish it when it's full, we're talking about nehira, a pit, right? You makdish it when it's full, everything is hektish. You makdish it when it's empty, and I'm sorry, makdish it when it's full, everything is hektish. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon says no, only the outside, not the water.
You
My
can't
plea.
gain on from the droppings of the birds.
If you made it hektish, you can't have benefit from it.
Oh,
Everything would be hektish if they were there at the time.
even though you can't use it for droppings.
I think probably because you can't use it. That's why it's nehila. You're not allowed to use anything from it. I think Rav explains. He was makdish a pit. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon savala kavur. Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon holds like his father. Who's Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon's father? Rabbi Shimon. What does his father say? His father says that when you makdish something, you makdish it stingy. Right? So he goes like this. We learn the halachas of regular people, the halachas of the hektish from regular people. By a regular person, he could say, I sold you a pit, I didn't sell you the water. The same thing as by hektish. He says, Bira aktish, ma'ilai aktish, I was never maktish the water. Okay. So why is it why when it's empty is he yes makdish the water?
Right.
It's only when it's full that he's not makdish the water. Why when it's empty is he makdish it? So with this, the way to explain this is the way they explained with this child in Russia. And they said, what would you give her mother Russia? So he said, would you give $1 million? He said, for sure. I would give it to, would you give your yacht? He said, for sure. So would you give your sweater? He says, no. He said, I don't understand. You'd give all that, but your sweater. He says, yeah, the sweater I have. So, what's going on over here is that a person is stingy only with things that he actually has. The water that he doesn't have, he says, yeah, that I'm makdish it. So when it's empty and it shows up later, Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon says, okay, he does it but generous. But when he has the water in the pit, he's only makdish the pit, he's not makdish the water.
That's like having Ahavas Israel for every Jew that you don't know.
Yeah,
Octus, baby. Octus already.
I like that. I like that.
So the Tanakama Savain done didn't give him din hedyet, that you're more generous. That's the Tanakama. Din hedyet loy. 1 second. What's going on? By a hedyet, by a regular, when someone sells something, he doesn't sell the water. We just said that Reb Shimon's going to follow a regular sale. Just like a regular sale, you sell the pit, you don't sell the water. So to hektish, you makdish the pit, you not makdish the water. The problem is, if a person sells the pit, he does sell the water. Amarava, Rava says, our Mishnah is not unanimous. Our Mishnah is just an individual opinion. The Tanya was taught in a brisa, we have a brisa that where the Tanakama holds that you don't sell the water. Reb Nassan Aimer, Macher bar Macher Meimav. Our Mishnah would be the opinion of Reb Nassan, but there is another opinion, and that's what Reb Elazar Bar Shimon would be following. Okay, let's leave it here.